Okay everyone, so welcome to this tutorial for basic bash scripting. So I'm going to be creating a series of lessons for bash scripting in using Kali for offensive security. So if you're not familiar with what is bash, this is a command language interpreter. Bash is available on various operating systems and it is the default command interpreter in most of the GNU or Linux system. It came from the acronym Born Again Shell. So that's where the BASH comes from, the term bash comes from. Now, if you're wondering what the term shell means, this just means that this is a macro processor that will be allowing you that will allow us for an interactive or non-interactive command execution. And if you encounter the term scripting, this allows for an automatic commands execution that would otherwise be executed interactively one by one. So if we combine bash shell scripting, so we have bash, which is a command language interpreter, shell, which is a macro processor, and scripting is the ability to automate command executions that can be executed one by one. So just take note of the concept when it comes to programming. Again, we are trying to communicate with the computer, and when we are the microprocessor here, the interpreter here will be allowing us to have an ability to communicate with the computer, and the scripting is the process from where we are giving instructions to the computer so that it will be executing the instructions that we have given it, specifically given it correctly. Okay, so just take note of that, guys, so at least you'll have an idea with regards to bash basic bash scripting or bash shell scripting definition. For the definition of bash shell scripting, why do you want to study this? Bash scripting is going to be a must skill for any Linux system administration job. So even though some of your employers might not be requesting it, but technically this is going to be something that you will need to learn, especially if you are going to be using a Linux-based operating system. So if you're wondering what is a shell, and right now we are in front of our computer here and we have a terminal that I've opened up here. This terminal can also be considered as something that we can compare with a command prompt if you're using Windows, a Windows machine or operating system. And a terminal contains what we call a shell. And a shell will be allowing us to communicate with our computer so that we can interact with our computer, and we can use set of commands that can help us communicate and give instructions to our computer. It can be from us retrieving information or storing some data. We can go and process information, and we can do simple to extremely complicated tasks using the terminal. So let's just say, let's go and try to type some commands here that will be allowing us to check the calendar. And we can see here that the cal command here allowed us to, or the shell command here allowed us to open a calendar. And if we try to type pwd, it will be checking our current directory. Just take note that PWD here means print working directory. Okay, so these are some of the shell commands that are available in our Kali Linux terminal here. We also have the list command, or if we type ls here, you would see it will list down all of the directories that are present in our current directory. So ls means list command, or it is the list command for Linux. So the shell command that is used for showing us the full content of our directory. Another command here that we can go and execute inside of our terminal will be the date command. And you would see here that this actually gave us information. The computer communicated with us and gave us the information, the current information with regards to the date. When I am currently recording this, we have October 2020, October 1, Thursday, 11 p.m. and that will be a.m. So I hope you're getting the idea here that shell commands are ways for us to interact with our computer. And in this case, we interacted by retrieving our calendar. We gave instructions to it to retrieve our calendar for us to be able to look up our calendar here, for us to be able to see our working directory from where we are currently exploring the content. And we have here the list command that showed us the other directories inside of our current directory or working directory. And we have here the date command that uh, printed out the current date and time. So I hope you got the idea on what bash shell scripting is all about. So in the next video or in the next lessons, let's go and talk about what is scripting. But for now, I'm hoping that you got the idea on what is a shell command that we execute inside of our terminal here so that we can go and interact with our computer and give it instructions to do certain things. So that will be all for this lesson, and thank you and see you on our next lessons.